You may not realize poisonings are one of the leading causes of deaths during and after a hurricane. The Florida Poison Information Center in Jacksonville is working with the Centers for Disease Control right now, actually on a pilot program to help keep your family safe from storm-related toxins. This is a fantastic time. You know, sadly, we're seeing this storm, but this is a great time to remind our viewers because, look, we live in Florida. Unfortunately, we've had to become used to hurricanes. So Mike McCormick is joining us here now, a spokesperson for Florida Poison Control. So, Mike, let me start with the obvious here. We're always telling people, yet this happens every single time we have a storm come through the area, is about generator safety. The likelihood is very high, particularly along our coast, that our viewers will lose power at some point during the storm.
Yeah, absolutely. And carbon monoxide danger, people don't realize it, is one of the leading causes of deaths, especially as we go into the days after the storm as people are dealing with power outages. Yeah. So with generators, you can't run it in your garage even if the garage door is up. We need all generators at least 20 feet from the house. Carbon monoxide is an odorless gas. It's tasteless, it's colorless. It can easily suck back into the house and you won't realize it's there unless you have a carbon monoxide detector. Also grills. People wanting to cook and get some hot food, we've seen them pull them into garages or into houses. And then cell phones. They're such a part of our life that people want to keep them charged, so they'll raise the garage door, start the car, and that's too long. Again, back the car out. You got to get it 20 feet from the house.
And if you don't have a CO, detector, you need to get one. You know, there's still time to run to the store. I know I've got one at my house, particularly since we have gas in the house, you know, associated with our cooking. What are the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning? You say it's a silent killer, and it is. We hear about these terrible tragedies where people will go to sleep at night and sadly won't wake up because, you know, it's been leaked into the house.
Right, if you have any of these symptoms, you need to go on and think that way. Fatigue, headache, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, confusion. If you have them, the first thing is get to fresh air. Yeah. And make sure you have everybody from the house out to fresh air. If somebody is unconscious, they're not breathing or they're seizing, go ahead and call 911 directly. If not, you can call the Poison Helpline, 1-800-222-1222.
Okay, people lose power. This happened to me. I think I was out for about 6 or 7 hours when Helene passed through. Let's remind our viewers about food in the refrigerator and the freezer. What are some good rules of thumb?
Well, a lot of people don't realize how quickly the bacteria that causes food poisoning can begin to grow. So, you know, kind of a general rule of thumb, and it's from the CDC, is for your refrigerator, 4 hours. The key is you've got to keep the refrigerator closed. Keep it closed. Don't be, or if you're opening it, in and out very quickly. For a half full freezer, you can go up to a day, and for a full freezer, up to 2 days. One of the keys right now, if you can, go on and freeze like some water bottles and stuff. You can stack those in and around and bring the food closer together. Best rule of all, though, if you do get something out and you have any sort of doubt, throw it out.
100%. You know, it's interesting. So what we've done, since we're expecting to lose power, is we've got a big Yeti cooler. We've got some ice. So because we don't want to keep opening and closing the refrigerator since that will spoil it. So kind of just put like the main things that we need to feed the family there to keep it as cold as possible.
Absolutely. And remember, some of those things that sit in your refrigerator for a long time, some of the condiments and stuff, don't forget about those if you have an extended power outage that you do need to toss them.
Medication mistakes. These happen. We've got a lot of people. I was talking to some friends actually 2 nights ago, and they have relatives from Tampa who have come up and are staying with them. And older relatives tend to take medication. We've got the young kids around the house.
Well, and I have some good friends that I can tell you a quick story from Irma. They went and got grandma from across town, brought her over. She went into the guest room, and what do people immediately do? You take the medication out and set it up. They went to go talk about what they were going to do for dinner and went, where are the 2-year-old twins? And in just that quickness, or just that little bit of time, the twins went back and got into her heart medication.
Oh my
and we had to transport the children. Everything worked out okay. But so guests that come into your house, make sure their medication is secure. If you're evacuating, make sure that your medication is going to be locked up. And very important, if you are at home, the power goes out, and you maybe have multiple medications, make sure that you get a flashlight and you identify the medication, and please read the labels. There's a lot going on. It becomes very easy to maybe take an extra amount, take the wrong dose. So it's very important that you have that flashlight and you are identifying it. You know, also, we run into self-harm in these situations. People get into despair. Maybe they lose a house, they lose a car. So please keep an eye on each other, because it becomes really easy for somebody, something that you have around that you can cause harm to yourself is medication.
Yeah, and particularly if somebody is coming from an area which will end up getting really decimated, as we've been following in the Tampa-St. Pete area. Okay, we see this every year whenever there's flooding, particularly kind of along St. Augustine, in the St. Augustine area, the beach area, and some other areas where people are walking around in flooded water. Terrible idea, right?
And it's a toxic soup, and that's what I want everybody to know. First off, all the animal waste that is out there is going to wash in together, so you have that. Pesticides, fertilizers that we put on our lawns, that's all added to the soup there. Just the oil and gas that's down on the roads on a daily basis, all of that stuff is in and around together. Please don't be walking in, especially if you have any sort of open cuts. Wear boots. Some of your people are going to have to, that they're going to be out there, but you wear protective equipment.
We have all the protective equipment for them, for sure. It's lined up right now for all of our reporters to grab in the newsroom. Mike, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. A reminder also, that's 1-800-222-1222. This is just a great number to just memorize, have on the fridge, particularly if you leave the kids out. You've got babysitters, not this time of year, but you know what I mean. So stay safe, everyone. And Mike, again, thanks for being here.